Hello, welcome on in. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. It's a strange time to be joining us, but it's a strange time of the season on the ATP Tour. Did I just say, looking ahead to tomorrow's matches in China, is our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It is Sean Calvert. Sean, good morning to you.
It's me, yeah, definitely me.
I was going to say Roy Giovanni.
How quick they forget, that's all I can say.
Mode. How are you, mate?
Instantly forgotten. I'm all right. I've been playing a bit of paddle this morning, as I normally do on Fridays. So, yeah, fresh from the paddle court to the studio. Yeah, I'm all right, yeah.
Good. I don't like this time of year. I really don't like this time of year. It's like the scheduling's wrong. We get all the days that we usually record are all out of sync. I don't like it.
No, I don't. It's these Wednesday to Tuesday starts. It's everything's out of whack, isn't it? It's really hard to do a show because not only because of the Wednesday to Tuesday stop, but the time zone as well. Because we're obviously recording here in the UK. Then it's got to be uploaded to Bet Rivers in the States, and then by the time that's done, the matches are almost started, haven't they? In China, because they're so far ahead of the US in terms of time zones, and it's hard to get a space where we've got 24 hours clear to look at some matches, which which isn't great. But and there's a Laver Cup on as well, isn't there? So a lot of the players are playing in Laver Cup rather than playing on the ATP Tour, and a lot of players are taking it quite casually, and other players are seeing a rare opportunity and playing above themselves. So it's a tricky few weeks, that's for sure.
Also, as well, I mean, these matches here, I mean, they're on like you say, the time scale's different. I find it hard to get the times and what match we should do. And also, when we're recording, we're really limited in the matches that we can actually discuss. These aren't the matches that we would choose, but these are the matches that they're given to us, given the time restraint we're working on.
This is all we can do, and that's not just for this part of the season. That's a lot of the season as a whole as well. That is often the case because we have to record basically 24 hours ish before the matches take place, and we also don't know the schedule a lot of the time as well, and that has a bearing certainly on certain tournaments where they play at night and it's much slower than the day. So that makes it tricky as well. But it is what it is.
We have two matches on both tournaments in Chengdu. We're going to start off with, and the first match we are going to discuss features a man that doesn't want to be on early. He wants to be on late. It's Alexander Bublik. He's up against the surprise package of the week. I don't really know much about this player, but I'm interested to see what you have to say. It's Federico Agustin Gomez is the Argentinian player. Bublik is minus 265 with Bet Rivers. Agustin Gomez is plus 210. The spread is 3.5 here, and the total is 22.5. The Argentinian comes through qualifying, and he has been quite impressive. Hasn't dropped a set yet. Beat Muller in round one. Bublik comes here on the back of some very, very bad form. He hasn't won a match on the tour since the second round of Wimbledon, where he beat Cazot. Didn't play very well in the Davis Cup. Knocked out in the first round of the US Open, Montreal, and the Olympics. So this is an opportunity for the Argentinian here. The spread is 3.5, as I said, total 22.5, and the match starts at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the very early hours of Saturday morning. That's Eastern time, 4:30 a.m. So if you want to have a bet, you make sure you get on before you go to bed this evening. Don't know much about Gomez, but I wouldn't be trusting Bublik at these prices.
No, I mean, another thing to bear in mind about this tournament is obviously the conditions. It's very, very hot and humid. On Saturday, it's going to be 33 degrees. That's ambient temperature, so it's going to feel more like 37. And there's no one there. I don't know whether you've seen much of this, but
there's literally a massive arena with nobody there.
It's kind of like the Shanghai Masters is like that as well, which is even worse because that's a Masters event. It's like a blue ribboned event for the ATP. But this is awful, isn't it? There's literal 5, 6, maybe 10, 12 people, depending on the match, in the stadium at Chengdu, and it's not a small stadium.
Yeah,
is it?
I was just about to say it's a big stadium.
Hangzhou's bigger as well, and there's nobody there either. There's some people at the front that look like they're sort of hospitality, and they're giving some sort of vague atmosphere. But I mean, it's such a bad look for the ATP Tour, isn't it? There's just no one there at all, and it can't be good for the players. But anyway, Gomez, he's not going to mind. I think he's got a decent chance here, Gomez. As you said, Bublik's not won a match since Wimbledon. He's 0-5. He did win a few matches in the UTS knockabout they had, which I think was in New York. But that's an exhibition event played with very peculiar rules, and that suits Bublik's kind of casual style. He's actually lost 7 of his last 10 matches on the Asian swing as well, Bublik, including several times at his, I say, home tournament. He plays for Kazakhstan. I mean, he's Russian, but he plays for Kazakhstan. He's not done very well there either. lost 7 out of his last 10, as I said, on this swing since he made the final in Chengdu in 2019. So, yes, he's got form here, but it was 5 years ago, and since then he's done nothing. As you said, he lost to world number 247 Elmer Moller in Davis Cup last week at home in Astana, and he also lost the doubles as well. So to say he's coming here in poor form is perhaps being generous. You know, you asked me about Gomez. He's a big guy. He likes to give the ball a thump. Big serve, goes for his shots, goes out swinging. Doesn't mind coming to the net either. So, you know, if you're thinking this is a typical sort of Argentinian clay court, and not really. Powerful guy, likes to go for his shots, big serve. He's obviously attuned very, very nicely here. He's won 3 matches already, 2 through qualies, which were, you know, fairly easy matches in all fairness, but very impressive, as you said, against Alexandra Muller, who's had a, you know, decent season. He's, you know, a good player, Muller, and Gomez came through that, winning 90% of the points on his first serve. You know, conditions here are quick. It does suit that first strike tennis. If you can get that first strike in Chengdu, that's half the job done. I think he hit 13 aces in that match as well. So, you know, he's got weapons, Gomez. He's not gonna be meek and a sort of tame here. He's going to go for it. And looking at the stats of Bublik, one bet sort of stands out a mile. Bublik has lost the opening set 30 times this season at main level, and he's won the first set 10 times. So he's only winning 25% of his opening sets this season. So to say he's been starting badly is an understatement. Now he's got 500 metres of altitude to cope with in different conditions. I think he played indoors in Davis Cup. Certainly didn't play at 500 metres of altitude on outdoor hard in Chengdu. So he's got to switch to that as well. Obviously poor form. Gomez is going to be the one far more attuned to these conditions, having played the 3 matches. So given Bublik's appalling record in opening sets, the plus 163 that Bet Rivers are offering about Gomez to win the opening set is the bet here.
Yeah, Gomez plus 163. I'm quite tempted by him on the money line because
that's also decent.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, if you're looking at one player who's going to jack it in, you know, towards the end of the year and not really fancy these conditions or this tournaments or this sort of part of the year, then Bublik is right high up in those kind of candidates, and I think you can get him beat here at minus 265. I mean, I don't know if you saw the WTA tour this week. Not one of the seeds made the quarterfinals.
I've seen bits of it.
Not one of the seeds made the quarterfinals in Thailand.
This is Hua Hin, right?
Yeah, not one of them made the quarterfinals.
I've been to Hua Hin. I wish the ATP were playing there. I'd sign up for the ATP Hua Hin, no problem. Instead of that, we get Antwerp and Metz.
There you go. Well, you might be going to Jeddah or Saudi or something like that soon, so they might be very different.
If it's warm, and there's nobody there. I mean, this Chengdu tournament's right up my street, isn't it?
I did think of that with you. I thought there's
nobody there.
Yep.
You can't. I mean, there's no, as I said before, they haven't really got a website, so I don't know whether it's like Marrakesh where you can just sort of walk in, because it doesn't seem to me like it's particularly popular. So I reckon I could get tickets there. I could have the whole stand to myself, couldn't I?
The Calvert stand.
That would be great.
The Calvert stand. I mean,
I'm not sure about 42-degree heat there. That might.
Why does anyone want to be hospitality days? In hospitality, what's the hospital? Just you eating lunch on your own, prawn sandwich on your own, paying like $500.
I just mean that there's people that are really, really close to the court. That normally those courtside seats are either hospitality, or not hospitality as in people eating there, but you know, the sponsors' seats or whatever. It's not the general public that tend to sit there, is it? It's people from companies and whatever. Or maybe it's just the people that have got lots of money that like sitting there. But your general tennis punter, they're not in Chengdu or Hangzhou, are they?
Now, I watched the Vukic Coric match, and Coric was getting more support because he had more people in his box. That's how it was. There was probably 6 in his box
Chinese
and 3
player playing.
In Vukic. Yeah, no one there.
There's literally nobody supporting. That was another one. It was another case, wasn't it? Both my leans won and both my bets lost last time. That's a microcosm of this season, isn't it?
Yeah.
The leans are winning, the bets aren't.
But we're joking aside about the people in attendance, but the fact there's nobody in attendance must mean that the underdogs have got a much more of a chance. You would think. Is the underdogs been winning? Well, just that no one's there. I mean, the bigger players.
Well, it's the same for both players, isn't it?
Yeah, but surely the bigger players, more established players, would like to play in front of a bigger crowd and get going and thrive off the crowd. The fact that they've got no motivation,
possibly.
I would think that when the Premier League was played behind closed doors, all the underdogs won. home advantage meant nothing. Teams that big favourites were getting
I
turned
think
over.
West Brom got relegated that season, so I'm trying to erase that from my mind.
But I just think it must correlate that the underdogs must have a chance with nobody there.
I'm going to try the whole thing.
We'll try it.
It's quite possible. I mean, the whole thing just feels flat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that there's nobody there, the fact that most of the best players are in wherever they're playing Laver Cup. Where are they playing Laver Cup this year?
Berlin.
I can't. Berlin. Okay, so they're in. I knew they were playing it somewhere. I don't know where it is. I don't ever watch it, but they're playing there in Berlin, and it's all a bit after the Lord Mayor's show. And if there was crowds here, I remember when they had it in Seoul a couple of years ago. That they had far more crowds there than they have in China. It's really, really bad in China.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I'm going to think my theory of the underdogs. I'm going to back them all blind.
Well, a lot of them win in Chengdu, so you might be off, right?
I'm going to go with it. We have a nice underdog here as well. Lorenzo Musetti's number 1 seed on the drift at the moment with the betting with Bet Rivers. He priced up about -210 originally, now -190. Christopher O'Connell is +150 to spread 2.5. Total 22.5 again is the line, with over the favourite at -121. This match starts at 2:20. Local times in Eastern time in the morning, so 2:20 a.m. A very early start. This one, the first match on court. Musetti has had a great year, but really eased off a little bit in recent weeks. He got beat by Nakashima at the US Open. That was his last match. But O'Connell's in great form, absolutely great form. Won the challenger over here, won in the first round here against Kotov in straight sets, and he's another underdog that I think I might be betting.
I don't see why not. I think that maybe the value's gone slightly, as you said. Musetti's been he's drifted a bit, isn't he?
Mm.
But it's another tough-looking opener for a high seed here. As you said, O'Connell comes here in great form, won the Guangzhou Challenger, beat Kotov as well, pretty handily in round 1, winning 85% of his first serve points, 68% on second serve against Kotov. So that was a very decent performance after a season that's been blighted by injury, really, for O'Connell. He's had a lot of injury problems. He's only played 34 matches this season, so he's missed a fair bit of tennis. That might mean that he's got a fair amount of energy left, despite winning that title last week in what were pretty hot and humid conditions there. That might count against him in a few days' time, but you'd think he'd still be pretty keen, having missed so much tennis. You got to wonder whether Musetti is motivated for this. He's only 4-4 win-loss on the Asian swing. And last year, in his opening match at this very tournament in Chengdu, he was a tiebreak away from losing in straight sets to Filip Sekulic. There's a -1,430 chance, 1.07 in decimal. Very close to losing it in straight sets. Ended up winning the third set easy because Sekulic ran out of gas. But that just shows you it is difficult to get yourself used to these conditions. As I said, there's the altitude. And if you're not really up for it, if you're only sort of half up for it, it makes it difficult to get into. And you do make a lot of mistakes in these conditions. The balls do fly quite a lot. So you would think O'Connell, he should be approaching this match, fancying his chances of an upset. I just wonder if the value's gone a little bit. For me, I'd probably take set 1 again, because it's that same theory of the favourite coming in, not having played a match. I don't think it really helps them. It does take them a while to get used to the conditions here. So +130, I think it was, O'Connell to win the opening set of Bet Rivers, or set 1 over 10.5 games there. It looks quite big as well, +205. 3.05 for Bet Rivers for it to go set to 7.5 or 7.6. I think those are the bets of interest in that one for me.
Yeah, both of those markets still available on the Bet Rivers website. The prices are still there. Remember, it's an early start, 2:20 a.m. Lorenzo Musetti. The action starts at 1 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday morning in Chengdu. 29 different markets available with Bet Rivers. Head across to the website now, or the app, to get all those prices available to you. Remember, if you do watch the match, you can watch it from the comfort of your own home. Nobody's watching it in the stadium. You better watch it live stream on your app or your mobile device. And there is another tournament in China where the attendances aren't very great either. It's in Hangzhou. We have 2 matches we want to discuss here. Roberto Carballes Baena up against Mitchell Krueger. The Spaniard is -141. Krueger is +115. The spread is -1.5, and the total here again is 22.5. Before we break that match down, Sean, conditions here hot again. I expect as the similar we have in Chengdu.
It depends where they play. I mean, this tournament has been entirely random. I mean, the match that we talked about the other day, Bellucci against Karatsev. That was played in a tiny little room indoors in some sort of lower dungeon, like the Paris Masters, but without any seating. I don't know whether you saw it, but it was completely bizarre because they have the outside courts, but this one was played indoors in completely different conditions. There are 2 or 3 matches played on this court, some of the doubles as well. They just randomly put them on an indoor court with just a camera, and the coaches of the players, it was just sort of standing somewhere at the back, and that was it. So that wasn't the reason that Karatsev lost, by the way. He lost because he was absolutely awful. Suspicious as well. The least I say about that match, probably the better. But that's obviously, those conditions are completely different to what you're getting outdoors. It's obviously been very, very hot and humid in Hangzhou. I'd say it was slower than Chengdu. There's no altitude here at all. It's right by a river. It's on like 10 meters of altitude or something. So, and they're using the head balls as well. So not totally slow. I'd say it was bouncier, higher bouncing, and a little bit slower than Chengdu. And again, nobody there, apart from when Zhizhen, Zhang, who we're going to talk about in a minute, and a couple of other Chinese players have played. There's been some fans, but still not many. They're trying their best to make an atmosphere, but there's not a lot going on. But I'd say slower, higher bouncing. But the weather is actually cooling down in Hangzhou this weekend. It's going to be rainy with thunder showers, cooling down to about 25, 27 degrees. So they've got a roof there. I would imagine the roof would be on Saturday. So that's where we're at in Hangzhou.
Yeah, they only met once before. Carballes, Baena and Krueger, the American. Carballes, Baena, the Spaniard, won 3-1 back in the US Open in 2018 in the first round. He won 7-6 and 4 sets he won that match. This time around, Carballes, Baena has been in good form actually. He won the Seville Challenger, played well against Musetti here in Hangzhou in round 1. And Krueger has had to come through qualification here after his second round loss against Lehecka in New York at the US Open. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, a bit of a lean for Krueger here as underdog, just on the price, really. He got back into the draw, Krueger, as a lucky loser after losing in straight sets to Uchiyama. I don't know whether he knew he was... Sometimes the players know when they're going to get that lucky loser spot, and sometimes you find they lose heavily in qualies, knowing that they're highly likely to get that lucky loser spot. I don't know whether that was the case there, or whether the fact that Krueger just had a bad day and Uchiyama played really well. I don't know, but he's back in as a lucky loser. On the stats... on outdoor hard, it's advantage to Krueger, really. Last 12 months at main level on outdoor hard, Carballes, Baena, 40% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 99 and a hold and break total of just 93. So not great stats. Krueger, I've taken his last 10 main level matches because he's only played 4 in the last 12 months. Again, same win rate, 40%, but a much better set of stats. 101 service points won and return points won total and a hold and break total of 102. So, decent advantage for Krueger on the stats. He's been playing pretty well this summer. Should have been. It's been a case of should have been for him a lot of the time. Should have beaten Davidovich Fokina in Cincinnati. Should have beaten Lehecka in New York. He was 2 sets to love up, I think, there in that particular match against Lehecka. Ended up losing it in 5. Carballes Baena has got no real record at this time of the year. That win over Musetti that you mentioned was his first ever win on the Asian swing. He was 0-2 prior to that. So he tends to play, as you said, he tends to play the sort of the clay challengers generally this time of year. But I guess he's probably been tempted in by the fact that he's into the main draw of this, and it's a decent chance at going some way in a 250, getting some good ranking points. When they met last time, Krueger was a 1.68 favourite, which was, admittedly, it was quite a long time ago, 2018 at the US Open. Now he's plus 115 dog. So just a lean here for Krueger, I think, on the stats. I think that might be an all right price on the American.
Yeah, the American is plus 115. We're currently with Bet Rivers. The match starts at 2:50 a.m. Again, early start tomorrow, Saturday morning. You better watch the match. If you place a bet on the Bet Rivers website, on your app, or on your mobile device as well. So you'll be able to bet live and watch live with Bet Rivers. Final match we are going to discuss, probably the most interesting one out of the 4, actually. Zhizhen Zhang up against Matteo Bellucci. Zhang, obviously, he will have some support. There will be a crowd here cheering him in this very, very large arena. Minus 136 for Zhang. Bellucci is plus 110. Bellucci is obviously the man who came through that questionable match against Karatsev in the last round. He's plus 110 here. The spread is 1.5 and the total is 1 higher than all the matches that we have already discussed, 23.5. When they met before, and the only time they met was in 2023 in Miami, in the qualification on a fast court, and Zhang won 6-1, 6-3 in qualification. He won very, very easy on that occasion. There has started to be a little bit of money for Zhang here, and I would expect the minus 136 to probably be a little bit under pressure. But Bet Rivers are trying to entice you in on the plus 110 Bellucci. That is the best price you will get for Bellucci. Are we going to go with the Italian to get something here, or is it going to be Zhang all the way, Sean?
I think, again, a slight lean for the underdog here. I'm not particularly impressed with Zhang's statistics. If you look at what he's done this current season on outdoor hard at main level, just a 44% win rate, a service points won and return points won total of 97, and a service hold and break total of 95. Very kind of mediocre stats, really. Not particularly even better than Carballes Baena, really. Bellucci, much better, 63% win rate, service points won and return points won total of 103, and a hold and break total of 102. So immediately on the stats, I'm thinking minus 136 on Zhang is just about him being a home player, and they're giving that as a decent advantage for him. Maybe it is. You know, he won the Asian Games here at this venue, obviously highly motivated, but he's very inconsistent. He has a extremely aggressive style, which tends to lead to the ups and downs. He's either hitting or he's missing. A good example of that was the match that he played here in the first round against Yevseyev. Great in the first set, awful in the second set. And eventually just eked it out. I think it was 6-4 in the third. It was a tough old match that was in the end for Zhang. He had to work very, very hard there. Whereas Bellucci, I don't think he even broke a sweat, to be honest, against Karatsev on that little school gymnasium indoor court they were playing on. I really don't think he did. After 3-3 in the first set, when Karatsev decided that he wasn't having it, he didn't find the court, I don't think, for the next hour after that, or 40 minutes, or whatever it was. So a very easy time of it for Bellucci. Zhang does say he likes playing left-handers. He constantly, whenever he's playing a lefty, he always says, "Oh yeah, I like playing lefties." But he's lost 5 of his last 8 against left-handers, so that's not really bearing out in the results. I wasn't keen on Bellucci's odds against Karatsev, bearing in mind what we know Karatsev can do when he can be bothered. Well, I did think it was quite strange, Karatsev, because, you know, given this ranking situation, he's missed all that tennis this year, and he's got a load of ranking points to defend from Zhuhai last year and Tokyo last year at this time. Strange that he didn't put, you know, more of an effort in, but Bellucci's a much better player than when these two met in that Miami match that you talked about last year. His stats are better. I mean, if this was being played at a neutral venue, i.e. not in Asia, you know, you would, and you're looking at those set of stats, that you would certainly fancy Bellucci at plus 110. Is he motivated after playing a ton of tennis? I mentioned before the Karatsev match, he has played an awful lot, Bellucci, in the last few months. It may just be that Zhang's the more motivated, but minus 136, not for me. I would take a slight lean on Bellucci here.
Yeah, Bellucci for sure. And it could be a day for the dogs. A lot of leans for the dogs here. We haven't got an official play. We've got official play. We're just going to go that.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chengdu one. Gomez to win the first set against Bublik. I'm taking that one, which is a plus 163 chance for Bet Rivers. I think that's good value, bearing in mind that Bublik has only won a quarter of his opening sets all season.
You're losing 30 opening sets for Bublik, and you can bet his opponent at plus 163. That's a nice bet, nice value play there. I actually quite like Bublik to get beat. I think the value might be on the money line as well, especially if he goes a one-set love up. It's a nice little price there as well.
What'll probably happen is he'll probably lose the first set and win the match. That's kind of how it's been going this season. But anyway, you got to go with the value where you see it, and you know. Yeah, I'll be
betting Agustin Gomez. Last couple of days, the tournament so far hasn't been that great for us. Obviously, there are 2 official picks we didn't cash, and it's we haven't had the best of runs in recent weeks, but we're minus 12 units on the year. 12.40 units. But the good news to that, I was just about to say, the good news is that we got Hanfman through to the quarterfinals, beat Mpechi Perigard today, and looking quite well, and probably will be favourite to make the semi-finals whoever he plays, either Vukic or is it Gomez he plays it? Gomez?
Martinez looks like he's about to win the first set against Vukic, so
that would be good for us.
I would take that.
Yep, so we'd be a heavy favourite to win, to get through to the semi-final there, and then that opens up that with the each-way play. And we've also got Kachanov as well, haven't we? So he's
playing right now.
Right now. So we got action this week on the outright market. Rory still in profit, 9.69 on the WTA show. Hasn't had a great week this week, so that will alter that as well. But there's lots of tennis coming up for the remainder of the year. We've got the Shanghai Masters, the 1000 event. We've got the 1000 in Paris as well, and also some decent 500s in Vienna and Basel when we get back to proper tennis at proper time, Sean. I want to know that.
I don't know about proper tennis, proper times.
Yeah, proper times. Well, they're 1,000 events of quite proper tennis. But hopefully we can do one other show on Sunday this week to look at the matches, but we'll see whether we can fit one in. Obviously, scheduling is going to be very important. If we can do one on Sunday, we'll have one on Sunday. But if not, we'll be back next week. Make sure you can follow us on our socials at Because We Win on Instagram and on Twitter. Download this podcast, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, and also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Betting Weekly Studios. Lots of great content there every day, 4 o'clock local time here in the UK, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Betting Weekly Live. Some great views, some great subscribers there on our show, topical show, Where the Money's Going with Bet Rivers, every day on the YouTube channel. And finally, the last plug I'm going to give you is we have a website, Betting Weekly Studios. Head across to there now if you put it in, and you can sign up to our newsletter. There'll be a newsletter, bets and picks going out in the next week or so, giving you some what the handicappers fancy for that day. So head across to Betting Weekly Studios on the internet, on the website, and just fill in the register there for the interest in the newsletter, which is coming very soon. Sean, I'm struggling. I still don't see my mouth. Look, that's my sunburn. Where I
can't see that on my screen.
Oh God, I burnt my lip in the swimming pool.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Always. And every time I
remember
talk,
you doing this last year.
Every time I talk, which is what I got to do for a living, it cracks, and it makes it very, very difficult.
You got any lip seal and stuff?
I have this here, but it's not doing anything. But
it's not doing it.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit to talk. So anyway, that's it from Game Bet Match. Take care. Good luck with your bets this weekend, and look out for those dogs. There's no one there cheering them on, so we'll be cheering them on the Bet Rivers app. Take care.